Oh,
I don't know if everyone was on when I mentioned that Tal is going to be a little late. Jewett moved their meetings to 6 o'clock. So he will take care of them and then come over here. So we're gonna push him to the end of the list for the department heads and we'll just go right to DPW. So Wayne, you're up.
All right, so a couple things Anthony wanted to bring up. First one is the trees behind the new fuel shed. I guess Stefan wanted a few spruce trees planted behind it, but there's that black walnut tree that's back there. What would you guys like to do with that tree?
Didn't we talk about this black walnut tree last year when we were working on the building at some point?
Yes, I know we had an arborist come in and something about a few people wanted it trimmed, which we did trim, but the arborist did suggest, especially it being the fuel shed being there, it's a good idea to take it down.
Okay.
And plus too, I mean, you know, in the fall, those black walnuts drop those big nuts, brand new building, metal building. You imagine what it would look like in the fall.
Yeah. I feel like we discussed taking it down already. Gail, do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
They recommended trimming, not take it, but take it.
Yeah.
You got my vote.
Yeah, I think if there's danger of it hitting the fuel shed and damaging the building, then
yeah,
probably.
I mean, you're right. I mean, if you're taking it down, you're also replacing it with a few trees. So
Yeah, yeah. And Jason sent a little. Did I send that to you? He sent a mock-up of like where the trees would go and what they would look like. I thought it looked pretty nice.
I don't know if
okay.
Anthony got that or not.
Okay, I'll check. I'll double check. Okay, I guess we would need to vote on that as a board, huh? So we'll make a motion to remove the tree. Does anybody have anything to discuss or add about it?
Where would the wood go? Isn't
Yeah.
that quite expensive?
Yeah, I asked Wayne that the other day.
I mean, there are people that are out there that would buy the base of the tree. We could look into it. I mean, after we could take it down, we can set the larger pieces aside.
I mean, I think that's a good idea. Wood is going for quite a premium right now, and black walnut is really nice stuff. So,
you know, there's a public auction site that the county uses and other communities use to sell all sorts of stuff from vacant lots and trucks. We could probably put this wood, you know, when we have it, take a picture of it and just put it on there and auction it off.
I know a gentleman that has a mill out too, so maybe we could just ask around, but I guess we should go ahead and take it down and then we can find someone to purchase it. I think it'll sell.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I get a motion to remove the black walnut tree that is right behind the fuel shed by the DPW building?
I'll offer.
All right, Nancy,
I'll second it.
Ricky, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Nope. Okay. So carries. Sorry, tree. Okay.
All right. So another thing, the gutters, we have one quote. We're waiting for a second one to come in. The gentleman said he was supposed to have it to us yesterday evening, but Anthony hasn't received an email on it yet. So
Okay.
as soon as we get the quotes, we'll get them right to you. And I don't know if we want to wait until next meeting or just go with the lowest, or what do you want to do?
We should probably take a look at them. We'll just wait until next meeting and
Okay.
yeah, it's only a couple weeks. So, and
Yeah.
we don't have both the quotes yet anyway. So,
Right. Now on something like that, does you want to know if we got to get 3 quotes or would 2 be enough? Because I don't know if it's under a certain amount, you only need 2 or.
I don't know. MJ, do you know the answer to that?
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's in the procurement policy. I don't know the details of it right here. I don't have it with me. but the procurement policy is right on the bulletin
Yeah.
board in the village office
I have a copy.
on
of
how
it
much,
too.
do you have any idea how much it's going to be approximately?
I believe it's gonna be around 2,000.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
you have to look. I'm not gonna say.
You know what, I'll spare us the time of me looking it up right now. I have the procurement policy here in my computer, but do you know of a third party that you could get a quote from easily?
Not offhand. I mean, the two that we did get are locals. One's Sitzer's Construction out of Kisaki. The other
Mhm.
one's Tin Man.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of anybody else local
Okay,
unless start calling like the Albany County area.
all right, let me just double check that and then I'll get back to you about if we need a third quote, and then we'll look at them at the next meeting and we'll vote on it then.
Okay.
Probably, that sounds, I mean, if we need a third one, then I guess we'll have to, I would rather go with somebody local, obviously, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just put that on my to-do list. Alrighty. Anything else?
All right. The brush pile, I believe, is all done, ground up. I think they finished it this afternoon. I didn't get a chance to run down there, but we didn't hear any equipment running around 3 o'clock. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're done.
Okay,
So once probably tomorrow afternoon, I'll go down there and clean up the roadway as best I could, because we also got to get it ready for the 5K run this weekend. So
oh, that's all okay.
I'll get that all cleaned up, and that lower gate will be reopened for the 5K.
Okay, great. And then just let Nancy know when she can post on Facebook and whatnot that it's open again, because everybody gets upset when it's closed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been closed since Monday because they didn't want nobody down there because debris flies all over the place.
Oh, yeah, it was,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
I know he did say though that the pile was a lot larger than last year. And I talking to Anthony, I think that it was because the lower gate was open all year. All year during the construction. So
Yeah,
the year before he said it wasn't that much, and that was because the gate was constantly closed.
yeah,
So
okay. Well, good news that it's gonna be open again soon.
yeah. Then
Um,
last thing is the blacktop around the DPW garage. It might be next week, but most likely going to be the following week. It's going to be done.
Okay, sounds good.
Wait, Wayne, didn't you want to talk about the vacation?
Anthony said you were going to bring that up.
Shall I bring it up now then?
You want to do it now?
Sure.
Okay.
So both Anthony and Wayne have requested board approval to sell back vacation weeks. They've already met their quota for selling back vacation weeks. In Wayne's situation, if he doesn't sell back a week, he's gonna lose it. And with Anthony, if he sells back a week, then he can come back to work on Tuesday.
Monday.
Otherwise, he'll just have to, he'll just take the full vacation. So because they've each already sold back their quota for the year, they just need board approval.
MJ, does that run into a budget issue for us, or do you think we're good for that?
Not this year. They'll be fine this year.
Okay, so I think that's fine. Don't want you to lose it, and it'd be good to have Anthony back, so. Can I get a motion to approve the selling back of vacation weeks for Wayne?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Ricky?
I'll second.
Okay, Gail, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I don't see anyone opposed, so that carries. Okay, great. Anything else for DPW, Wayne?
No, that's all I got.
Okay, now your fire chief.
So I sent you some quotes because we're towards the end of the year. I do have some money left over in equipment. So the first thing is we have two apparatuses that don't have UHF radios in them. One's the pickup truck, the other one's a boat. And because we use the UHF a lot, that I was looking to get approval to go ahead and purchase and have them installed, 2 radios on those 2 piece apparatus.
Okay, did everyone get these quotes? I forwarded them. It was a little bit late, but I think around 3 or 4 o'clock I sent them, but
Yes.
okay, if everyone got them, that's good. Okay. I think it's fine. We talked about your budget the other day. You have the money left. So does anyone have any discussion or questions about it?
No.
Are you gonna be able to get those invoices to me by the end of the year, though?
Yes, I will. I will tell them to get them to us, as, you know. But yeah, by the end.
Yeah, because it has to be by the 30. Well, that's Memorial Day, so probably you need to get them by like the 28th.
Yeah, I'll definitely call them tomorrow and get the, you know, tell them to get the approval and get the invoice to us right away.
Okay, that sounds good. Should we do a separate motion for each one of these? Probably, right? So can I get?
How much are they?
Oh, I'm sorry, MJ, I didn't send them to you. I just sent them
That's
to the
okay.
board. You want me to forward them to
That's
you right
okay.
now?
Yeah, that's fine.
The radios are $23.51 and 2 cents.
A piece or for 2?
For 2 and installed.
The installation runs.
Yeah. I mean, the radios themselves are only $415, but installation, and it's something I could do, but if something goes wrong, you know, it would void a warranty, so it's just better off having them install it.
Okay, MJ, I just forwarded them to you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So it's for the radios is $23.51 and 2 cents. Would anyone like to make a motion to purchase the UHF radios for the fire department?
I will.
All right, Nancy,
I'll second.
Josh, all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so carries.
And another thing, we're looking at upgrading some of the lighting on truck 2-3, the aerial. We want to replace the headlights with LED headlights. And also on the aerial themselves, they have halogen spotlights. We'd like to replace them with LED lighting, which are a lot brighter, especially when you're on the scene. And actually the original plan when we purchased that truck was down the line to purchase a onboard generator for lighting, and which is a whole lot more than what I'm asking here. So, and of course, nowadays LED is the way to go. So, and
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did I hear someone say, Amy, maybe you, that all of this money is already in the budget anyway?
Yeah,
Okay.
they still have this. They have actually, if the 3 things that came through today, I think if they're all approved, you would still have a little bit left in your budget at the end of that, right? Yeah.
And that's for the 2020-2021 fiscal year budget.
Yeah, the one that's closing out at the end of this month.
Yeah, so it's not like we'd be leaving ourselves like open for an unexpected expense, because unless something comes up in the next 2 weeks, which is unlikely.
Unlikely.
Yeah. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And the aerial lights are $2,076. That's for 4 lights and 2 hours of labor. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the LED aerial lights for the fire department?
I would.
All right, thanks, Josh.
I'll second.
And Gail, thank you. All in favor?
I
Opposed? Nope, nobody. All right, so carries. You want to talk headlights now?
the headlights on the truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically, I mean, you know, like everything's going LED. So trying to save the wiring on the truck, you know, give them a few more years out of it before I start having electrical issues. So we want to eliminate the halogens and go LED. And that price with installation is $1,700.
Any questions or discussion? Anyone want to make a motion for the purchase
Headlights?
of the LED headlights for the fire truck? Which truck? 2-4?
2-3.
Damn.
Yeah, I
I'll
know.
get the trucks right someday.
So moved.
All right, Josh.
I'll second.
Okay, Nancy beat you. So Josh and Nancy, and all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so carries. Cool, all right. Anything else, Wayne?
Do you want to bring up now about the replacement of 2-1?
Might as well start the discussion now. I mean, you guys sent the truck, everybody remembers in April, I sent the truck report around. And we had just a really packed meeting that the department heads meeting in April. So I asked the guys to hold off until May. So why don't you start the discussion, Wayne?
All right, well, actually, I'm going to turn it over to Pete. I have Pete here. And
Okay, great.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening. How is everybody?
Good. How are you, Pete?
Are you?
Good. Good. Did everybody get a chance to read the plan over?
yes.
Any questions, concerns, comments?
Well, I have a kind of a global, question. When Amy forwarded it, she said, if I'm looking at the right thing, that the bond for the firehouse is going to be paid off in 2022. And the fire department would like the board to commit to replacing that payment with a new bond for the truck purchase. So is that correct? Is that still kind of what we're talking about in terms of paying for it?
Well, it'd just be a recommendation that'd be up, to the whole board. I know I did give a recommendation to Amy also, consolidating all the fire department debt into one bond.
Uh-huh.
And in overall, you in interest, who knows, you may save interest.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to sidetrack our conversation into a funding one. I was just wanting to understand, we're not proposing necessarily to commit any funds tonight, if I understand correctly. I'm not wanting to put words in your mouth, Pete, but
Oh, that's fine.
yeah, the plan is to kind of look at these globally and then come up with our kind of what we want to do over the next few years in terms of paying for new equipment. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, okay, all very good. I mean, I'm a big fan of the fire department. I think it's awesome that we have volunteers who are doing this work. My question for this was, it's a shopping list basically, and you showed the information about the current fleet and proposals for replacement. But what I thought might be helpful, and this might be appropriate also in the context of if we have a bond conversation, would be to see like a spreadsheet that would show each year how much money would come in. Let's say $75,000 a year, and then after 5 years, we'd have whatever that is, $375,000, and we'd buy a truck. Just so we could see over. I don't really have a sense of whether this is like a 5-year shopping list, a 10-year shopping list, a 20-year shopping list, and when how much money each year would need to be saved. And then when the expense of the purchases, the expenditures would happen. So that was my one comment, is it'd be helpful to see this is the wish list, but also see the spending plan.
Well, if you refer back to the plan under summary, it was recommended to put $75,000 away each year.
Yep.
Just for the truck.
Okay.
And that's probably almost half of the fire department budget, current budget, almost just 25,000 shy.
So what about,
I know I've had this discussion when I was on the board. Let's just use 2-4. Okay, that was the last truck that we actually bidded out, you know, that we spec'd from the ground up, that did not have to have any limitations. What I mean by limitations, we were finally in a fire station where we didn't have to worry about the height of the doors, the width of the doors, the length. We can actually spec out a truck for the village / the town, because we do got to remember, we take care of the part of the town, the Athens Fire Protection District. And originally, when we started that, the truck was originally going to be around $175,000. By the time we were all said and done, one that costing $263,000. So to actually give you I really don't know how we could put a shopping list together. This, once we put the specs together and put it out to bid, that's what it is. And it's a truck. If you go according to the plan, after 24 years old, we should be replacing that, and we're not even close to that plan. This is a 1990 international quality, and here we are, 2001. It's 31 years old. You know, I know, you know, the board has to worry about more than just the fire department. They got to worry about the DPW. They got to worry about the police department, and then everything in between. So, you know, by the time we start this and finish it, you're probably looking at a year and a half before the truck is even delivered. You know, because we're not only going to just look at, you know, one manufacturer, we're going to bring in several manufacturers, and then it's going to go out to bid, and whoever's, you know, who's going to meet the bid specs and, you know, at a reasonable cost to the village, will win the bid. But, I mean, even for us to give you a solid dollar amount, I know we did demo a truck last year with Spoon Lake Fire District. That truck with no equipment on it was around $560,000. And now probably that truck right now, if you probably go out to bid, it's probably over 600,000. You know, the cost of fire trucks increase year after year drastically. So I you know, as far as a spreadsheet and what you want on there as a shopping list for the budget, I think that would have to come through the board, and especially the budget manager.
well, what I was talking about was a spending plan. Like in the report that you've submitted, you're saying you're wanting to look at your proposal is, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm just trying to understand the how things will unfold over time, is $75,000 a year for 2 ETAs and a ladder truck, but doesn't
No. That's to put $75,000 a year, and every 7 years be able to purchase a truck.
There we go. Okay, every 7 years. Okay, and so what this says is this is an estimate for the 2 ETAs and the ladder truck, and then it says it does include the 2 boats, rescue truck and brush truck. Is that a typo? Should that say it does not include, or does it also include that?
Well, it does kind of include it, but I mean, those are not what we would call our front line trucks.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they won't hurt. You know, I don't want to get too in depth in this because some people may not understand some of the abbreviations I'm using, or but ISO, your ISO rating. You know, they ain't going to care about a boat. They ain't going to care about a brush truck. They're going to care about equipment that is going to respond to a structure fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's, I don't know, I think I must have missed that 7-year number at some point. So 75,000 a year times 7 years is a little over $500,000, which we agree is possibly a ballpark figure for these trucks. So we would be able to replace the 31-year-old truck perhaps in 7 years, when it would be 38 years old.
No,
Oh, no, okay.
no, we're past the 24-year recommendation of replacing it.
Yeah, so, but under this plan, we wouldn't have the money to buy it for 7 years, would we?
You would have to bond it. We've
Oh,
never,
Yeah,
since
yeah,
I've been a member of the department, whatever, was a firefighter, past chief, whatever, we've never had the money to buy a truck outright.
mhm.
Never, ever. And you're never, ever gonna have the money outright to buy a truck.
Right, right. So we bond it.
No disrespect, but that's just the way it is.
Sure, yeah. So let's say we bond it and we have the money in a year or something like that, however long it takes us to get that bond out and get that money. And let's say we do it in 2022 when the firehouse bond is paid up. So then would we be bonding $500,000, or like how much, what would the fire department like?
I could give you some estimates. It could be anywhere between 600,000 to 700,000. You really don't know till you go out to bid.
So we would be bonding at this point just one truck then?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so all of the other items on that list are items for a discussion at another time.
Yeah, the idea, Josh, is to get them on a healthy schedule of purchasing, so they
Yeah.
don't run up against having 30-some-odd-year-old truck when it should have been replaced
Yeah,
amount of years ago.
7 years. Yeah.
I think the idea of using this bond when it comes up is a good one, since it was already, it makes sense. It was already there for the fire department, and, we've been paying it. So if the payments were, somewhat similar, the 75 a year kind of freaks me out though. But I mean,
No,
I'm sure we can figure it out. And I liked your idea of combining the fire department debt, see if we can consolidate that. I think that would be a great thing to do. Like you said, we would save, I'm sure, on interest. And if we do it soon, interest rates are fairly low. I'm sure they're lower than they were when we took some of those bonds in the first place. So
I think, do we have, I guess I recall when we did a bond a year or so ago for the DPW building, I guess there are some experts that we talked to who help us set this up and structure it. Sounds like the mayor needs to have a conversation with those folks and the fire department and come up with that kind of step spending and plan, like what Stefan put together in terms of the bonding for the DPW building. And that might help us all wrap our heads around exactly how much money we're talking about and when.
well, I think until these guys get started on the process, we won't know how much the truck will cost from top to bottom. And correct me, Pete and Wayne, tonight you're trying to, what we want to do is allow them to be able to start the process, because as Pete explained to me, it could take 1.5 years or more to build a truck.
Yeah.
So
Do it.
yeah, I think that's where we're at right now tonight, is let's get that hurdle jumped, right?
Correct.
And yeah, so how's everybody feeling about that? Just to at least get the ball rolling on this and commit to replacing that the firehouse bond with the bond for the new truck. And then yeah, I mean, I'll even powwow with Tal and Stefan maybe even, and Pete, you and I can talk more, because obviously you have more experience at this than I do, about, we went out there was a bond company, right, that finds you just the right situation. And I know Tal was instrumental in that as well, so.
Yeah, too, and, not to switch hats here, but, also being involved in the county emergency services, you know, I talked to a lot of fire chiefs. I talked to a lot of fire commissioners, you know, and, you know, not everybody bonds it. Some people do financing through whatever manufacturer we're going to go through. You got a bank right in Greene County, Bank of Greene County. They deal with a lot of fire departments, and they give some nice low interest loans, you know. But yes, I'd be willing to help, and you know, I could reach out to, because if there's, I know Earlton has a new truck coming in. West Athens is trying to consolidate some of their equipment just like we did. And there are a couple other departments I just can't remember at the top of my head right now that I could reach out to and ask them, you know, how they're doing their financing.
Okay. I mean, I think that we can, if nobody is opposed to it, we can commit to beginning this project of funding and building this new truck. You know, it's going to take a while, so.
I think that's awesome. And I also would love to take up our former mayor and fire department important person on his offer to check and see how other folks have paid for this in addition to bonding. You know, we're just this little village. We rely on the creativity of all of us. So all good ideas, you know, are going to be welcome and appreciated.
Okay. So Tal's not here yet, but do I
don't
make a motion?
I don't think so. I mean, this is just, we're not committing any funds. We're just giving
Committing to the project.
Yeah.
And
Process.
giving the go ahead to move forward with the
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say you guys, we'll all do our parts to move forward. I guess with you next, it is actually speccing out and getting bids on the truck itself, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not to,
No, go ahead.
things can change here next March.
Mhm.
If it was an official motion, just a motion and a second, at least just for us to go with the process. Just
Okay.
in case the board does change in March and people, you know, it's always nice to have it in writing.
I don't have a problem with
No
that.
disrespect to anybody, but
It's really okay, Pete. I don't take it the wrong way at all.
okay. Thank you.
Gail, Deputy Mayor, how do you feel about it?
Well, I don't know. Who's going to be here in March, Peter? No, I say we go ahead.
Okay, so let's make a motion. How should I word it? To commit to the new truck project and moving forward with, you know, researching financing and speccing out the truck and
Yeah.
getting some bids.
Yeah.
Not the prettiest motion, but I said it.
No, I do think we need to make it clear because boards do change and opinions do change. Since we don't have a specific purchase motion before us, all we're doing is committing in principle to, you know, moving ahead with getting a quote and an estimate. We can't commit for a future board, you know, to agree to purchase it if, let's say, in April or May of next year, the fire department comes back with, you know, an actual proposal at that time, unless I'm misunderstanding it, which, you know, I'm happy to hear about if I am.
Yeah, no, we're kind of hoping sooner than that, Josh, but at least just to let the committee, you know, research specs and along with Amy, you know, any financing that's available.
Yeah.
And also, I do like the idea of looking into consolidating some of these other bonds. So that's, you know, secondary, but I think that would be really helpful to us as well. So now what did I say again?
So we're just, I think we're just committing to, we're acknowledging a sense of the board that we want the fire department to begin to proceed to price out a new piece of equipment, and also to assist in finding other ways to pay for it that we might not know about. And that we'll look forward to reviewing that when it comes to us.
Yeah, and it would be great if we could get, I mean, obviously we have the monthly department heads meeting. So if the truck committee wants to, give us updates periodically as you have more information, that'll be really helpful as well.
Yeah, it'll probably be a couple of months, because, reaching out to the manufacturers and sitting down with them is probably going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. So who wants to make that motion?
I do.
All right, Josh, second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Gail. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody? Okay, so carries. We are starting the truck process.
All right,
Very
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you for your
evening.
help, Pete. Have a
Okay,
great
you're
night.
welcome.
Okay, next up, unless Wayne, did you have anything more for the fire department?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, next up is police. Gail, you got
I have a
police?
couple of things. On Facebook, Jason Kirkman wrote thanking the police officer who was on duty last night in Athens. I guess he bought some Stewart's ice cream cards for the player who showed sportsmanship and for the player of the game. And the team chose who those players were that were going to get those. And to quote him, he put, "You are a true hero and a person of fairness." And the officer was Charles Cole.
Oh,
So I would like to,
He's already a hero. He's
yeah.
twice over.
I think that's really great that
We're
we,
so lucky. We are so lucky.
That's really great.
and I forwarded that off to Stefan. I think he's in charge of the community policing
Yeah, yeah.
part of the police reform. Next, the village received an invoice for a radar unit for one of the cars from Applied Concepts. It was given to the police department to use as a demo. And now they would like to purchase that. I don't have the figure in front of me. Mary Jo, do you remember how much that invoice was for?
3,560, I think.
Okay.
Do they
Gail,
have,
are we getting a discount because it's a floor model?
Huh? It's only, no, I don't know.
It's
and
used. It's used.
scratch and dent?
So I would like to be able to have them keep that, or Roger would. If that's,
Do
Is
we
that-
have, is this also an end of year purchase? Is this money that they have in their equipment budget?
No, the equipment, I looked at that today, their equipment line item is way over. But they do have money in the reserve account due to the sale of that the police car that they sold on Auctions International.
Okay.
So we could we, are we,
Yeah, you can take it out of that reserve account if you want.
how much is in the reserve account?
Right now, there's, I think, $8,000.
And
And that's prior to, I think, I don't have it in front of me. The moving of the money from the sale of the police car, which was $4,000, I think. So they would end up with 12 grand in there at the end of the year. And this is 3,560 or 3,650, one or the other.
And is there anything else that anybody had been talking about spending the reserve money on?
yes, one other thing. He would like to also get authorization to purchase another pole-mounted radar unit, since that one that we have is in such high demand.
How much
And
is,
the minute you take it away, people just start flying down the road again.
Right, that would be approximately $3,000.
Okay.
so that's,
So they would have 3 units? Is that what you're saying? They want to buy 2 more?
The one,
Oh,
the one from that Applied Concepts is a car unit. One of the cars does not have a unit in it. The other one is one of those pole mounted units.
I'm all for another one of those pole mounted units.
Me too.
I'm confused. So the movable unit that we have had around town, what's happening to that?
We're keeping that. We would like another to place in another area of town.
It can't be in all places at all times and
Okay, but
Very high demand.
That's the pole mounted unit.
Right.
Yeah,
so we would end up with, because I was confused.
Two.
Someone said 3, I thought, in this
Two
comment.
pole mounted, one new one for the car that does not have the one for the car,
So that's for the vehicle itself.
for the vehicle itself.
Okay, so 2 pole mounted?
Mhm.
And the one that's mobile?
We
And-
have one pole mounted. We're buying another pole mounted and
Oh,
one more mobile. So that every car has a mobile and we'll have 2 pole mounted at the end of the day.
okay. Don't we have one? All right, so what about the one that's, I think, currently on 385 South that you, that's on a little cart? Is that, what's
That's
that?
ours.
Yeah, but is that, do we own that?
Yes.
We don't have one on a cart.
yeah, no, that must be from the county or something. Ours is now on Leeds Athens, right?
I don't know where it is right now.
I believe I drove by it on Leeds Athens.
Okay, all right. So what, I'm sorry to be so obtuse, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding this.
We currently own one pole mounted that we can move from spot to spot. We want
Okay.
to get another one.
And that's like 35 or 3,600.
That one's like 3 even.
3,000.
And then the one for the car is 35.
I see, okay.
Yeah.
So we have one, we'll have 3. We're going to spend about $6,500. That's half of the reserve fund. And then the reserve fund, well, now, MJ, you said we're already overspent on the equipment budget for police department. Are we
Yes.
going to balance that with some funds from the reserve fund as well?
No, basically, you're just gonna have to eat that this year.
We have, yeah, and he's under his budget overall by quite a bit.
Okay,
Another 8,000 coming in from the schools this month, he told me. So,
okay, good. I second that
Yeah.
motion.
Speeding is an issue that's been a topic of discussion for quite
Yes.
some time. So I'm ready to ask for a motion to purchase those if everybody's okay with it.
I'll make a motion.
Yay, Nancy.
I'll second it.
Yay, Ricky. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Slow down, Athens. Okay. Anything else, Gail?
no, I have a couple things from code enforcement, though.
Okay. Well, that's next. So
Well, actually, I wanted to ask a police department question.
sure thing.
Or a code enforcement question. I'm just not sure where we left things with Murphy Drive. And
Not violating any laws.
no laws are being violated. Okay.
Can we ask that he keep some of these vehicles? I know that it's he has a space out on Schoharie near where Field Goods is, yes? This is Dumpster Dave, right? He's the one that
Yes.
has this stuff. Do you think if we just asked him if he could keep some of those vehicles out there, he'd do it? I mean, Dave's a nice guy. I think we could just, I know he's not violating any laws, but it is, there's a lot of heavy trucks over there, so maybe if we just talk to him.
Do you want me to ask Jeff or Ed to talk to him?
Yeah, see if maybe he was able to keep some of those just a little outside of the village, like just over there, and then maybe the neighbors will have an easier time of things.
Has anyone gotten back to each of these individuals who has complained yet to tell them that this is legal? I mean, I don't know what happens when complaints come in.
They got sent to the department that handles them, and then they report back at the department heads meeting. I mean, I'm pretty sure wasn't that what Jeff responded to your email, correct, about
He responded to the code enforcement part. Roger said it wasn't his responsibility. And that's all fine if there's nothing illegal there. But we do have, what, 3 or 4 complaints that have come in. And I'm just wondering if residents will get a response from somebody.
I'll double check with Jeff and Ed or Gail, if you want to double check with them and see if they've spoken to the complainants. I always, in the past, each department head has dealt with these things, but I'll double check on that because we have new code enforcement and whatnot. So
And also, it's like it isn't a code enforcement or legal issue. So
yeah, so I'll see if they need me to speak to them or somebody else to follow up. One of us can do it.
awesome.
I'll double check.
Thank you.
Gail and I will follow up with them.
Thank you.
Mhm. That is a valid question. Okay, did we get to code enforcement yet? No, go ahead, Gail.
Okay, they issued 10 new building permits since their last meeting. And they've been policing the short-term rentals, following up on reports about those who haven't registered yet.
Great. Go ahead. Did you have more? I'm sorry.
I have one more thing.
Okay.
We tabled talking about getting an engineer to do the wind study. They would like that.
Okay, yeah. I'll discuss that with, I don't think that's Jason's thing though. I don't know. I'll talk to him about it. And there was something about, could we go in with the town on it? I remember that from the last meeting. So maybe we should see about that with Rob also. My question was, did we discuss with them that the monthly reports of open and closed?
Yes.
Okay, so they're gonna start to generate those.
Yep.
Okay, excellent.
Did you also, I have a question. Did you also discuss with them any possibility of setting up some type of hours? So that Dawn isn't taking 2.5 pages of call logs?
Well, we will speak to the call situation a little later because we have something in the works for that. But
Okay,
my thought is that when Ed retires from Catskill at the end of June, he'll have some hours freed up and maybe we'll be able to get some solid hours out of them. But you know what, I'll follow up again with that. I know that they had kind of crazy schedules. I think that their schedules are sort of normalizing now. I know Jeff was deployed for a while, but he's back. So maybe he can dedicate a couple of hours a week. I know when Reganey was here, he had 2 hours twice a week. So, I mean, that's not a huge commitment and at least people know when they're there. So it's definitely, we've spoken to them about it and I think it's just a matter of following up and organizing them to actually do it.
Probably
okay,
not
thanks.
before July.
Probably not before July, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But if we can nail it down and then we can tell people starting in July, you know, that would be great. You're right.
Now, we do have one other issue Mary Jo and I were talking about. They are spending a lot of time in code enforcement. The police department payroll budget and overtime is astronomical. You agree, Mary Jo? We have to.
Yes, just yesterday, there was the timesheet that went through for code enforcement. That was all overtime. Our former code enforcement officer was working salary. So when you get an officer is working part of his time police, and then he goes into the overtime part of it, and then he becomes code enforcement, it goes into overtime right away. And that's going to be attributed to code enforcement. So, you know,
Well,
I mean, they're two different titles too. So you even talk about retirement and how you're going to record them monthly as what title they're working on. I don't know whether they're going to have a problem with that or, you know, I mean, there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts here.
Yeah, there's a lot of kinks to work out in this system. I think it's going to be a good system, but I think we have a few more meetings ahead of us, Gail, with the guys and just working out a system for this and maybe coming up with a better better way of compensation, or at least a better way to account for what their time is and what they're spending. I know when I spoke to them, they said it's difficult because they will just like switch hats in the middle of a shift or whatever. But maybe with the hours, if we can get some steady hours out of them, like Tuesdays, Thursdays, whatever, a couple of hours, maybe that'll help with that. But obviously don't have all the answers to this one. We're building this whole thing from the ground up. So
I think it sounds, just from the way it's been described, like it has a potential to end up with runaway costs. We need good police officers and we need good code enforcement officers, and we have some good guys who are spending a lot of time doing that. I'm just wondering if maybe we could, every 2 months in the fiscal year, get like a summary of how the expenses for code enforcement and police were for the prior 2 months, so we can be watching if we get into high 5-figure overcosts. We don't want to be shocked next spring with, oh, by the way, we're $80,000 over in that budget.
Well, I think that's the problem, is that there's no defining on the timesheets. Sometimes there is, but like Ed's never have, whether he's doing code enforcement or police, so you can't really record it on either line item. Plus we don't have the line item, so it's hard to track it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try to pull those two roles away from each other a little bit and just have them like, if you're on as code enforcement today, then you're not on as police. We've got to find a better system as far as that goes. I mean, I think they're doing a great job at both jobs, but if the costs are out of control, then.
Well, and there's also some value to allowing them to switch hats in the middle of, if you're out as a police officer. And
I just don't think that should be the norm.
Yeah, but and yet we have MJ's in our real concern, and our responsibility is kind of fiscal, fiscal responsibility for the village to keep a lid on it. So MJ, what about every 2 months, like a even if you aren't sure yet which hat or which category, which bucket to put the reports into, still it's coming out of some bucket because these guys are getting paid. So maybe even just every 2 months, combined expenditures in police and code enforcement, against what the budget is, which is the budget for 2 months will be a sixth of whatever we voted on, last meeting. So we can say a sixth of that compared to like what we've actually spent. Well, at least 2 months in, 4 months in, 6 months in, it gives us a chance early on to see where we're going with that, rather than, again, waiting till the end of the year.
That could be helpful in figuring out how to structure it as well.
Yes.
Is that doable, MJ?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, Josh. Good idea. More code enforcement?
No, that was it.
Cool. Seth, hello, sir.
Good evening, everybody. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Let's see, month of April, everything pretty much status quo at the water plant. No major issues up there. The village wastewater plant, again, we are going to be out of compliance for permitted daily flow. We averaged 469,000 gallons a day. Little over 3 inches of rain, so that had a lot to do with it, obviously. And 20 days out of the month, we exceeded the 400,000 gallons a day.
So it's less than March.
Yeah. As of the 1st of May, we haven't been under 500,000 gallons a day.
Okay.
So everything we got at the end of the month seems to be carrying over. So we will again have to file a non-compliance report with DEC.
Okay. And
And
how far along are we on fixing all the leaks that we found? Because the conversation last time was that that might help the situation. Nancy, Wayne, do you know where we're at with the leak repairs?
It's one of the reasons why Anthony wants to come back to work next week, so we're going to tackle the one on 385, which is the biggest one we got.
Okay,
I know he plans on doing it Tuesday,
okay,
weather permitting.
great. Seth, do you think that'll help?
hard to say. My feeling is probably not. The flows are down at the water plant since they started fixing the leaks. The flows are down about 10,000 average a day. So, you know, it is, you know, every little bit helps. And there may be some, but even when we're not getting rain, we're seeing a lot of extra flow coming into the sewer plant. And I've got, you know, I have no idea where it's coming from.
Wayne, could this be the part of with the sump pumps?
It could be.
I don't,
And with all the rain and if people still have their sub pumps connected to the sewer in their sewer lines, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a code enforcement thing as well. We were gonna start reviewing those, right?
No, it wasn't code enforcement.
Code enforcement.
DPW
You
was
sent me
going.
that. Somebody sent that to me.
Oh,
I am going to make a little bit of a contrarian recommendation, which is my understanding is that once you've had over 400,000 average for 4 months in a row, which now we have, it looks like, you are subject to a potential DEC consent order. And what I'm going to suggest is rather than waiting to see if they are going to come and bust our chops, is invite them in, ask them to come and tell us what they think. Because the flip side is once you have a DEC consent order, it's like having points from your comprehensive plan. It makes you more competitive for grant applications. And I think it's been circulating. The state has just released hundreds of millions of dollars in potential grant applications. And maybe if we can get a citation, then we can work with like Delaware Engineering we already have, you know, a community development block grant application in for a planning grant. But, you know, maybe we can accelerate some of this and work on the planning grant. And then look to get some actual real infrastructure grant money on top of the 180,000 or so that we're supposed to be getting from stimulus. And, you know, we were talking earlier about bonding for the fire truck. I don't think any of the infrastructure money other than this money, stimulus money that comes without a match. You have to match. I don't know how much that is or how much we would need, but that's another kind of bond item that we need to keep in the back of our minds that may come up if we discover that there's a lot of infrastructure needs and we want to move forward with that and need the match. So my suggestion here is let's get DEC in now rather than waiting, you know, them to come in. That's just a suggestion. I'm not bringing a lot of
that is one approach. Be aware though that once you go under consent order, there is a timeline that will be put together by the DEC.
Mm-hmm.
And once that timeline is in place, you have to be ready to act. And some of this. Some of the preliminary stuff that's going to have to go into figuring out what's going on is going to be expensive.
Well, let me just say, let's wait then to see whether we get the community development block grant funding, because that's a $50,000 planning grant with just a tiny little match required from the village. So if we get that, then, you know, we can maybe breathe a little more easily about putting a plan together to be able to respond to a DEC timeline. So I bring it up as an idea, but I'm going to say let's not do that you know.
Yeah, my gut tells me to not invite them over.
No.
just yet.
Do not.
Yeah.
Okay,
And my
It's
other
a
thought is,
novel approach, Josh, it's a novel approach.
If
but
we
you're
had
kind
a
of-
ton of money sitting around, I'd be like, yeah, come on in.
Yeah,
but-
you're kind of inviting the wolf into the hen house. One of the things that they really, my suggestion would be to discuss with an engineering firm doing a comprehensive inflow and infiltration study. So you can figure out exactly where the major problems are coming from. And that will, again, allow you to target where you're going to spend money in order to fix the situation.
Yeah, we just had a question in the chat about, are we able to tell where the majority, the excess input is coming from as far as the overflow? So I guess that's how we
And that's
find out.
what a comprehensive study would show.
Yeah.
would that not be part of whatever it is, you know, we would be spending that 50 grand on if we get it from community development block grant for a planning grant? It's like, it's a needs assessment, basically.
Well, don't we determine what we're planning to do to spend the grant money on? I mean, if
Well,
it's
we would.
for specifically for water, because this is where we're having problems now, so.
Yeah, I mean, we would, but I mean, we need to probably talk to Brock at Delaware Engineering. I mean, they've probably done this, you know, 50 times for municipalities. So he probably, my guess is he probably knows what he would want to do. And I assume it would include I&I study, because how do you know what your priorities are if you don't know where your biggest problems are? So, so I don't know if that answers your question, Seth.
Didn't have a question, just a suggestion.
Yeah.
And the sump pump thing, let's go back to that, because now I'm really sorry, I can't remember who sent me, maybe it was you, Nancy, the going around and determining who's, you know,
yeah,
draining their sump pump into the,
Sure.
yes, that
Yeah.
was something that the DPW had done. Probably, I think it was 15 years ago.
Or more.
Yeah, right. They did find that there were quite a few people who had tied their sump pump into the sewer system, and by fixing that, it alleviated a lot of the problem. So it's something that, just out of courtesy, they were going to put off until the fall, but I don't see any reason why they can't start it now.
I think we should start it now.
I'm sorry, start what?
So what it would be is contacting village residents, see who has sump pumps, and then making appointments with them to see if they could check to see if they have a sump pump tied into the sewer, and they would have to then move it. Yeah.
So this is, the village sends a letter to every resident and says, dear resident, if you have a sump pump, please contact us because we want to find out if it's connected to the sewer, and we're expecting everybody to respond.
They did. We did
I mean-
about 15 years ago. They did do it. And we checked every house. And we found tremendous amounts of sump pumps. And it took that sewer plant right down to nothing where it should be. But on the other hand, they probably put them right back in when we checked it.
Also, we have a question about the smoke test sites that we found through the smoke testing in 2019, right? Have those been repaired?
Some of them were not, because some of them were
Bless you.
resident owner issues.
Okay. So we had to follow up with those owners.
Right.
I-
But it's at their cost. That was
Yeah.
something that
That's the
Stefan
problem.
sort of shelved, yeah,
Because not everybody can afford to fix everything all the time.
correct.
I also think before we ask our DPW to again go through the effort of identifying and requesting a fix of sump pumps for a variety of reasons. I think it would be helpful to find out from maybe Delaware Engineering, who is probably the most familiar technically with our system underground here, the extent to which they think that's a problem. I mean, do we think it's 20 buildings, 50 buildings, 100 buildings, and how much is discharging and how much would that contribute potentially percentage wise? There are probably ways to calculate that. I just think once we start intruding into people's property, even with their permission, it potentially, gets people irritated at us for, why are you, coming here to tell me, well, it's the law, well, fine, whatever, so still, I just think, let's find out the best information we have on how serious a problem it is before we begin to take the steps needed to address it.
I did speak to Anthony about that, and Anthony's feeling is that it is a problem and it's not something that an engineer is going to be able to provide an answer to.
Seth,
Really?
what
I
are
mean,
your
it's
thoughts?
gonna be the same thing. We won't know until we see.
Seth, what do you
So,
think?
Generally, the sump pump issue, and also you need to take into consideration anyone who may have downspouts from their gutters tied into the sewer system. A lot of older homes may have downspouts tied into the sewer system as well. And it's definitely the whole sump pump and that issue. Those are going to be part of a study, but it requires in-house inspection. And there is a law that requires, a New York State law that requires all sump pumps and downspouts to be removed from the sanitary sewer. So there is some teeth there, and it is a very unpopular thing. There is no doubt about it. But the alternatives,
I'm just saying, before we start something that's clearly going to be very unpopular, and with all due respect to Anthony, I'd like to get an engineer's opinion, just so we have, make sure we've covered all bases before we begin to, ask these questions of our residents.
also be aware that not all, but some consent orders will come with a moratorium, which means that until the consent order is satisfied, they may not allow any new hookups to the wastewater system. So that is something that needs to be taken into consideration in how quickly one moves on something like this.
And that piece can be really crippling, especially at this point where we want to add new businesses or new homes even to the system.
Yeah, but I think if I'd like to hear from an engineer, municipal water engineer on this, even just to get that perspective, and then, which I'm sure we could get that before our next meeting, and then maybe next meeting. I think all along here, everyone has said, especially if you get DEC coming in, the more it appears as if you're doing to try to fix it, the less harsh they'll be. So, if we get an engineer's opinion, then depending on what the engineer recommends, we can move ahead next meeting to begin this process.
How do you feel about putting it off 2 weeks? Seth, Ricky, DPW? It seems like we need to start addressing the problem. It's been, this is the 4th, 5th month?
yes,
Well, again, we don't know for sure how much that's contributing. Even Seth himself said that. But it is something we need to address. I don't think we have to, a plan can begin to be put together, and then in 2 weeks, we can hear, we can see what the specific plan is. We can look at a sample letter that's going to go out to homeowners, whatever. we can look at the entire plan, and at that point, we'll also have the some input from an engineer.
Okay, Josh, can you reach out to Brock, because you guys have a really good relationship, and just pose this question to him? Would that be something you can just ask him?
I can.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then what steps should we're going to start again on the leak fixing, correct, Wayne? So, I mean, maybe it's not making a huge deal, but they need to be fixed anyway.
Yeah, like I said, Tuesday, we're gonna hopefully get to that one on 385.
The big
And
one.
What's it, 30 gallons a minute, that one's leaking. And it's not servicing, so it's gotta be going either into the sewer or a storm drain.
Seth, any other actions that we can take pending Josh's conversation with Brock?
Not
that
really.
you can think of? Okay.
No, I've tried to manipulate the pumps to slow them down and it just doesn't help.
Okay. So let's keep fixing the leaks. Let's get some more information. And I think we should at least draw up a letter that we would send to people about the sump pumps and whatnot. And Bob, good idea about adding it to the website and the newsletter. I'll get wording on, I guess I'll look up the actual law and then word it so people will read it. Tal, maybe you can help me with that. And we'll get the information out there, because you're right, a lot of people that are new to owning a home might not even know that they're out of compliance with that. And we have had a lot of new homeowners in the area. Okay, anything else, Seth?
Nope, just Brick Row, plugging along. Everything's fine up there.
Great, thank you.
Okey doke.
All right, have a great night, thanks.
You too, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Good night.
All right, Tal, we put you to the end.
Good time. Sorry about that. My allergies are acting up right now.
Oh, everybody's.
From my standpoint, it's actually been quite quiet. I do have finally a copy of the some of the items that we're working on for the police reform, and for about a week here, and I need to get through those and get my recommendations back. But that's the biggest thing I'm working on now.
Okay, sounds good.
I have a question, Tal. You were going to put together for us a timeline for the Athens Gen.
Yes, and that's in the works too, but I got to get that to you.
Okay, and have we, only because it's just been an outstanding item for so long for the mayor and village attorney, any update on the sale of the community center?
I'll speak about that a little later.
Thank you.
Al, I have a question.
Sure.
On the police reform committee, Amy, myself, and Nancy are all on that committee.
Okay.
Is that a problem when we meet?
Well, with it being now a quorum, that would make it, and you are conducting village business, then it is a village board meeting. So we would have to notify, do all the notices in the paper and the board, and allow the public to be there.
Just to be, we have yet to actually all be at the same meeting at once. But so I don't know if we'll need to, I have to be on it as the mayor, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so, and Gail is the police liaison and deputy mayor. So Nancy,
And,
we might have to kick you off.
And honestly, my portion is almost done for that subcommittee.
Okay.
So,
I don't know, I don't go to all the subcommittee meetings though, do I?
no,
So far, I've been to the community policing, and then we have the monthly. So. All right, well. Should I replace Nancy or let her finish out her time and we just won't come to the same meetings at the same time?
And that's probably the easiest thing, just coordinate it in-house so that we don't end up with a quorum.
Okay, that sounds good.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Tal?
Nope.
Sounds good. Okay. On to applications. The first one is, as I asked APAC to send an official application for the dates of the concerts. Obviously, the COVID plan is still pending. I don't know if we want to just go ahead and approve it pending the final decisions as far as COVID, which is, as they say, the situation is fluid. But we had some discussions between Nancy and Carol and myself about the number of guests, and it's significantly less than what they had first proposed in their initial letter. So if we want to just table this application until we have the official word, it's just that it doesn't start till July 30th. I'd just like to get their dates on the calendar so we don't have conflict issues. That's funny. This says it was filed 4/29/2015. Let's change the date on that. So I would like to just approve it with the caveat that we're still working on the COVID plans. Is everybody okay with that? Just so we get these dates on the calendar so that the park is booked out. Okay, so would someone like to make a motion to approve Friday nights for APAC, July 30th through September 3rd, 6?
I approve it.
I second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All righty. Sounds good. And we have an application for membership to the Athens Volunteer Fire Department from Michael Perone. I know that guy. Anybody want to offer? What do we do here, Wayne? I mean, we just approve it, right? Do I swear him in or anything? No, because he's not going to be.
Yeah, he was supposed to be here tonight, but I think he forgot.
Okay.
You know, always in the past, I don't remember them being sworn in. They just have to come in front of you guys, explain why they wanted to volunteer. I mean, he's been a social member for a few years,
Yeah.
and decided he wanted to go active because he wants to help out with fire police.
Okay. That sounds good to me. If we want to hold off and have him come to the next meeting, or just to say hi or whatever, but I mean, I think we all know Mike.
Yeah.
I guess we could go ahead and approve him. How's everybody feel
I
about that?
approve.
Okay. All right, then you know what? I think Ricky just offered the motion to approve Michael Perone moving from social to active member of the Athens Volunteer Fire Department. Can I get a second on that?
I'd like to second that.
All right, Josh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No one is
I think
opposed.
they do need to take the oath of office though, right?
Oh, to be active, yeah, because.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Can we just set up a time and I'll
Yeah.
come down there and do.
Yeah, you have 30
official swearing
days.
in?
You have 30 days from the appointment to do the oath.
Okay, that sounds good. If he can't make it to the next meeting, I'll meet up with you guys at the firehouse and do it.
And
Okay.
he probably has to take the harassment training too.
Yes.
Actually, he was there when we had it last month, so he's got it already.
Okay. All right. So we've approved Mike to go active. Sounds good to me. And then just let me know if he can make the next meeting. We'll do it official in front of all the people. And if not, I'll come down and have a swearing in. That would be fun. Let me just write that down so I don't forget. Okay. Moving on to resolutions. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes from April 14th and April 28th?
Yes.
Yes.
I had one note on these minutes. On April 14th, we approved some, I think that was the ropes for the gear, for the turnout gear. And they were $3,264, $3,264, not $30,264. So that's just there's a slight number mishap in there. So I just wanted to say that I caught that. So it's $3,264, not $30,264. $264. So other than that, everything okay with the minutes?
Yes.
Yep,
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for April 14th and 28th?
you
I'll
got it.
offer.
Okay. I'll give that one to Nancy and I'll give the second to you, Ricky.
Okay,
Okay, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Okay. And did we get any vouchers?
Yeah,
Okay, I did not get a chance. Did everybody get a chance to look at the vouchers?
Yes.
I
Yep.
did. Mhm.
Okay, any issues, questions, problems?
no,
No,
Can I get a motion to approve the vouchers for this week?
I'll offer that.
Thank you, Gail.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ricky. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. Okay, we're back on the charging stations. We tabled this at the last meeting because there was a question as far as the admin role. But MJ said that she will contact them and clear that up, and we have to take care of the money and buy them to get this moving forward anyway, so.
Amy, there were two issues last time. One was the admin role, and we did get in touch with them. And they said admin time involved is minimal, maybe an hour to initially set up the account, then just be the point of contact if the village wants to change pricing policies or access control. So it's modest. And
The other one was insurance?
and the other one was insurance. And I forwarded everyone the warranty that comes with that we're purchasing, which is quite a thorough warranty and includes things like cars hitting it and so forth. So I don't know that we need any insurance, additional insurance, since it's kind of heavily warranted. MJ, did you have a chance to talk to?
Yeah, I did send an email to the people at Marshall and Sterling to get their quote on it, or whether it would make a difference or not. She asked a bunch of questions. I sent her the cost and the estimate, and she hasn't gotten back to me yet on it. But yeah, I mean, the policy that you have on there, the 5-year policy, I guess, is pretty good. So I don't know. I don't have an answer yet from them. So
I think the worst that it would be, if anything, would be probably something in the ballpark of like what we're paying for that a tank, maybe a few $100s a year, especially given how rich the coverage is with the warranty. So
I think we could go ahead and approve the spending.
hey,
Yeah,
and just as a reminder, this is $41,000 worth of parts and service and setup that we're getting for like $1,500. And we'll have a small steady stream of income from people using the chargers. And so that will be paid back in a year and a half. So this is kind of a real great win for the village.
sounds good to me. Can I get a motion to approve the purchase of the 2 electric charging stations?
Me.
I knew you'd want to do this one, Josh.
I'll second.
And Gail. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All right, opposed? Cool. All righty. Next up is correspondence. Don't have a lot this week. Number one is the Hudson Champlain. They just keep us informed of everything. I don't think this really affects us. Tal, help me out with this one. The Hudson Champlain Power Express, it goes from Canada down to the city.
That's the one they were at least working on doing something in the bed of the river, right?
Yeah, but I think it ended up they were gonna cross the river further south of here, so it
Yeah.
wasn't gonna actually be an issue for us, but we're just on the mailing list.
Correct.
Okay. Next up is, Wayne, I sent this to you a little late, but if everybody remembers, I guess it was last summer, the folks at the Rivertown Senior Center asked about using the firehouse in case of an emergency because, you know, they cook meals for seniors. And if they had some issue at their facility, could they use the firehouse? And, you know, we went through the whole thing of giving them what we wanted. And now they're wondering how much we want to be compensated for that. And I didn't even really realize that was part of the conversation. So I sent this to you, Wayne, if you guys want to discuss it and then bring it back.
Yeah, actually, I just talked to John about it. He said we're not charging, but if they want, but it would be nice to throw a donation to the department.
That's what you know what, I think that's what we discussed. I guess we just didn't convey that to them.
We do the same thing with Home Sweet Home, and any like next door, you know, if they need the place to, you know,
Okay,
it's free of charge, you know, and usually just throw a little donation towards us.
okay. MJ, can you or Dawn just shoot them an email and let them know that there wouldn't be a charge, but it would be nice if they would, you know, donate in case of needing to use it?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, number 3 is, okay, here is the tree. We got another tree. This was brought to my attention. Nancy contacted me because I guess these guys had talked to Anthony. There's a big tree. Nancy sent some pictures too. I can probably screen share, but it's growing like literally right next to someone's carport. And Nance, do you want to explain the tree situation?
Yeah, it's I mean, to my untrained eye, it looks like it needs to be taken down, but so the way Anthony described it to me, and Wayne, keep me honest here, and he showed me the map. It's questionable whether it's village property or not. It's that close. And then he also said that Greene County can take the tree down. The bottom branches have, you could see when you look at the tree that the bottom branches have periodically been removed. And right now there are branches that are leaning on the carport, but also if you look up, you can see that the tree is split like 2/3 up towards the top. You know, but lightning, I don't know, but and it's pretty tall. I can't estimate. It's at least 30 feet, maybe between 20 and 30 feet tall. So, I mean, at a minimum, those branches need to be trimmed. But, and the last that I spoke to Anthony, he was going to reach out to Greene County, and I don't know what happened because that was just before he went on vacation.
And it's situated between 2 properties and both of the homeowners would like it removed.
Right.
I don't know, should I screen share? Should I try to screen share a picture of this tree, or? The board got the pictures, right?
Yeah, send it to everybody.
The
Wayne, do you
count-
know, sorry, Wayne, do you know if Greene County can take it down? If we
Yeah, they
ask?
can take it down. We just got to schedule it with them.
And there's no charge to the village for that?
No, they never charge us. Usually, when we call them in, we try to get, if there's a few trees that need to come down, so they can take a couple, 2 to 3 days. We keep busy for the.
Okay. I say, here, hold on. Let me try to screen share. Well, there's a lot of junk on my screen, but mainly this is the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, when you first told me about it, I thought it was some spindly little tree, and then I saw this is a gigantic,
Yeah.
gigantic thing.
Did I hear someone say, or in one of the emails, that it could also just be trimmed, or is this one of those trees that's kind of past the point of no return and should be?
I mean, if you walk past it, it definitely, it looks like one good gust of wind and it's cracking. It's been trimmed a lot.
And it's the location is uncertain whether it's village or private.
It's
yeah,
very close. That's
it's
what
not
Anthony said.
tagged.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
it's not tagged.
It doesn't, it's not a particularly beautiful tree. It is potentially harmful. It's possibly our responsibility. It's going to cost us nothing to remove it.
I like your thinking, Josh.
As the chair of the CAC, which is the tree committee,
Yeah.
I'm going to make a motion that we proceed with having that tree removed.
Great.
Anyone
I
want a
second.
second? All right, Ricky. You can tell, Wayne, get the county whenever they can come, I guess, and,
Want to take a vote on that, Amy?
oh yeah, all in favor?
Yeah.
I figured everybody was. Opposed? Let's take the tree down. Oh, yeah.
And Larry was on the call. He just dropped right before this. Larry Moats,
Oh, he's
the
on.
owner. Oh, he's back on? Oh, good. Okay. I saw him dropping, so.
Yeah. It's gone, Larry. As soon as we can get it gone.
Great.
And let's see, next one, we already were sort of dealing with this. This is a letter from the resident at 3 Maple Lane, which I don't, if you've been following the board, you know that the property at 1 Maple Lane has been abandoned for quite some time. And last year we had to mow the grass a few times, a couple of times. It gets quite high. And I think it was Nancy who told me first, but I had already walked by. I walk by there a lot, and I thought to myself, you know what? It's time to call Flats Brothers to mow this property. So I've already reached back out to Ms. Sherman at 3 Maple Lane and let her know that we'd already contacted Flats. I haven't been over there in a couple of days. I'm not sure if they got to it yet, but then I let Larry know that he should just take care of it moving forward, because he's only going to do about every 2 to 3 weeks when it gets bad, but as opposed to just having to call them every time, and you know, we bill them out for it and eventually they pay. So it's just the resident next door keeps her house so nice, and she goes and takes care of her own lawn and everything. And I noticed she started mowing a little bit on the side of her fence, because she said she gets all kinds of critters and snakes and bugs, and it's a health hazard. So that's correspondence number 4. I spoke to her yesterday, had a lovely chat. Okay, and that's the end of correspondence. Now, for new business, the Nymer site visit is scheduled for tomorrow at 2. Wayne, I guess you're doing that? You're taking them, is what I heard.
Wayne, you're on mute.
You guys talking to me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry.
you doing that site visit with Nymer tomorrow at 2?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Anything we need to know or you need from us, or?
No.
Okay,
All I know is I was just told I have to go around to all the facilities with them
all right.
and answer whatever questions I can.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
problem.
you doing that.
Don't reveal any of our secrets.
Nope.
And it's, you know, and if there's anything that you need help with, call Josh.
No problem.
Okay, and next thing in new business is we need to set a public hearing date for local law number 6, which repeals local law number 4, which was the override of the tax cap that we do every year when it is budget time. We did not have to exceed the tax cap again. So I would say we can just have that public hearing on the 26th at the next village board meeting, unless anybody has a better idea.
So moved.
All right, second.
I will.
Second.
All righty. I'll go with Josh and Ricky. And all in favor of having the public hearing on May 26th for local law number 6?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All righty. So let's remember to get that information out into the world. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, old business. Community center building, lease and utilities. Gail and I had a pretty positive meeting with Supervisor Butler. Would you say, Gail?
Yep.
We're all on the same page. There are members of his board that maybe aren't on the same page, but no real movement yet, except for he did ask for a bill for the utilities that they have not contributed to for the past couple of years, and MJ's working on putting that together. I've asked Tal to work on a lease, but we haven't really discussed it that much as far as the 2 years that between the time that the building was supposed to transfer and now. Like I said, it was a positive meeting. It's moving, I think, in the right direction, but he is only one man on his board. So we're going to work on that more. But I'd say that Gail and Rob and I had a good meeting, and we will have more.
This is on the sale of the building to the
Yeah,
town.
the transfer to the town.
Mhm.
And
Did he care to posit how many votes he thinks he has? He just needs 2 more besides himself. Because if he doesn't have those votes, then we shouldn't be spending much more time on it, really. We need to go to Plan B.
There
I
are
don't
other
think
plans
we're,
in place.
What's
Hmm?
that?
There are other plans, other ways without having,
To take a vote?
right.
I'm not sure how much more we can discuss. I mean, they've already voted in the past, the board
Right.
on this, so they can be held to that. But
Okay, it's
we
very,
had a positive meeting.
all right, yeah, and it's a sensitive subject,
Yeah.
clearly, yeah, so.
Yeah, it is.
We don't, said a minute ago, we don't want to give away our secrets. So,
But he definitely agreed that they need to contribute to the utilities. So that bill is in the works, which is good.
that's progress.
And we got some movement on the fire contract as well. And I spoke with Wayne and those guys are working on an accounting. He wanted an accounting of where the money goes. So they're working on that. So all of those things are in the works, and that is looking positive. I
Well,
won't go so far as to say,
thank you to our mayor and deputy mayor for doing that. Thank you.
oh, thanks. All in a day's work. So that is the end of the written agenda. I will now go around as we do. And Nancy, you're in my top left, so I'll start with you.
Okay. First things first, you want to talk about harassment? I'm going to tell you about harassment.
So,
So,
not a
So-
compound meeting.
I had quite a day with Nimer yesterday.
Nancy's our star pupil as far as taking all the online courses.
I was accused of being a nerd.
Not just a little.
So, as far as the mandatory course, that the next available course, it seems like the only next course is June 23rd at 10 a.m. I had many emails yesterday with Karen Buckley, who's the contact. She's actually their VP of marketing at Nimer. It was very confusing in the beginning because according to the information that was distributed to us, it made it seem like we needed to register in order to access their learning platform. That's true. However, it also says that if you haven't registered before, that you need to click on the new user tab. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. They upgraded their system. Found that out after 3 emails. Then 3 more emails, because then this Karen was able to register me, but then I had to have an activation email. She kept sending it to my village email address, but apparently the Yahoo account has, NeoGov whitelisted, so it kept getting bounced back. So the only way that I could activate the account was through my personal email, got in, filtered the different courses and nothing was required. So it's like, okay, but I found 2 harassment courses and I just started looking through them. And before I knew it, I had certificates and I was like, okay. So I just took 2 courses and they're not courses. I was able to get these certificates. 5 more emails. I'm going to keep it short. This webinar, I don't believe you need to be a registered user. It's not part of the platform, their learning platform. They're 2 separate things. It's just a webinar. I don't know if they're recording it. And that was the last time I spoke to Karen yesterday was at 4:30. I clicked on the link that's in the PDF that I circulated to all of you, and that does take you to the course registration.
I
Okay,
did that too, and I registered and got a
That's the-
reply.
that's the workplace violence.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's sexual harassment, workplace violence.
Oh, good. All rolled into one.
Yeah,
Yes.
That'll be a fun day for us.
yeah, happy.
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
But if
So-
it's only it's only available that day at that time.
Well, it was also available today at 5:30,
Yeah. Okay.
which didn't help us.
Are we doing this for NYMER? Is it NYMER that's requiring us to do this?
It is the mandatory course. It's through NeoGov,
No,
but it is part of NYMER. NYMER is offering it.
But they,
And
who is it that requires us to take this course?
Governor
don't know.
Cuomo.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so to answer your question, Amy, these courses, there's zillions of them.
Yeah.
So if for some reason you're not able to take this one,
Can take it through somebody else.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, with this one, like with NYMER, you need to be, your municipality needs to be a member. So,
but I mean, you can do it. I mean, there's lots of, this is so prevalent because it's such a it's a statewide universal requirement that it's
Yeah.
nice to have NYMER. It's free. It's, but it isn't the only game in town.
Okay. Well, hopefully, if people aren't available, we'll find an alternative.
Roger is also certified to give that course.
That's right. We try to set that up for all of us to do at one time. I mean, now that everybody's getting vaccinated and whatnot, maybe we could actually get together and if
Yeah.
we can't do it on that day, we'll figure out when we can do it in person.
It'd be great to have Roger do that if he could.
Yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
great team building for us as a village management team as
Yeah.
well.
Being in the same room at the same time would be cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
and then the only other thing that came out of the NYMER thing is if anybody has any desire to register and to access the learning platform, now I can do that.
Okay.
Now I'm an
Yeah.
admin, so,
Ask Nancy.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the only other thing I really have is the Greene County Planning Board. I'm still not completely approved, but I did attend last month's meeting. Problem is that when the legislature approves it, their meeting is the same time as the Greene County Planning Board. So they'll be approving me next week. And then, so I'll finally be able, but I will attend that meeting also. I just don't have voting rights.
Okay.
So then it'll
Sounds
be the
good.
following. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Gail?
Oh, I'm all set.
Okay. Ricky?
I'm all set.
All righty. Josh?
Just a couple of quick things. Implementation committee met and we were brainstorming, a variety of ideas. As people recall, we are supposed to meet at least 14 times over 18 months. So we decided we would take a couple of meetings to do some brainstorming and figure out what we wanted to put our effort into and what we, how we wanted to make recommendations to the village board on, how to move forward with the comp plan. So not much other than that we met and we're beginning to think and talk. Conservation Advisory Council met. And we have speakers from Scenic Hudson coming later this month, next week, to our meeting. And they're going to be talking a little bit, among other things, about what changes in local laws or zoning we might want to make to make us a little more fortified and prepared for the kinds of development that might be happening to the west and south of Brick Row, so that we aren't kind of constantly surprised by things happening. And the last thing I wanted to say was just a shout out and congratulations to the Communications Committee for the newsletter. This most recent April newsletter, wow, I couldn't put it down. It was just chock full of stuff. It's really high quality, and I just want to encourage anyone who's on the meeting now who hasn't yet subscribed to that newsletter to subscribe, though I don't know how you're going to top yourself after this month. It was a really good one.
Thank you. I took point on
Thank you.
that one. It's good. It
Thank
helps
you.
because people are planning things again too. So there was a lot to talk about. Things are happening. Very exciting. Thanks, Josh. So MJ, do you have anything?
Yeah, I have a couple things. First thing is, if somebody has the information for who to bill for the river keeper cleaning up the middle grounds flats, you could either email that to me, and also the community farm. We've got just a small bill from Lowe's that I have to send them. So if somebody could email me who the contact person is for both of those.
Okay.
State Telephone came down and gave us a presentation on a new phone system for the village, which would have basically one phone call into the village office. And it's kind of like what the town has now. Whoever is calling in will have the choice of pushing 1 for code enforcement, 2 for police, 3 for DPW or whatever. And then the phone call would be transferred there without going right through the clerk's office and us having to write messages for everybody. It seems like a good idea. The technology is out there to do that. Everybody's using it. So we got a price on that. I just got the quote today from the guy, and I have a couple questions on it, but I just thought I'd let everybody know that that's going to be implemented soon.
Yeah.
The police have been notified. We've spoken to Sergeant Turcasio about it, and DPW and the fire department. Everybody seems okay. Police are a little reluctant, but I think they'll be fine once they realize it's not going to really affect anything. It's just going to make life easier.
I'm sorry, MJ, I was momentarily distracted. What is it that's going to be going into place?
A new phone system that
Oh.
would alleviate everybody taking messages for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll really streamline things in the office and just help.
Yeah.
All around. I think it's great. Look forward to that getting going. And I saw the quote that you got. It's not a lot of money for what it'll give us back.
Well, that's what makes me worry about it, because like right now we're paying a lot more than that. So I don't really know if I'm missing something. So I just want to review it with the guy.
That makes sense.
And we also haven't, I don't know if Wayne is still on, we haven't gotten the money for the fire department cleaner yet. And our end of year is the end of the month and we're over on that. So I had sent out an invoice to the person who's in charge of paying the bills there. So if they could get on that, or the liaison to the fire department.
Okay.
And let's see. The NYMER person, Wayne already mentioned that too, and I'll be meeting with them too to go over the financials for the buildings that we own. Just so you know. And I was hoping that you guys could make a resolution to make an appropriation transfer. I didn't have time to put it on the agenda, but it's basically just moving $2,000 for the police department for that repair on the transmission last time.
Okay.
It would be a movement of $2,000 from A 3120.42C, which is uniforms, to A 3120.42B, which is repairs. And that would pay for that
Okay.
repair.
Would someone like to make a motion to transfer 2,000 from the police uniforms line item in the budget to the repair line
I
item?
will.
All right, thanks, Ricky.
I'll second.
Thank you, Gail. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, okay, great.
And I don't know if anybody's noticed the NICOM advocacy update today regarding the legislation to extend and modify the utility termination moratorium law. I was in contact with Tal today and also the county regarding this because it looks like we will not be able to re-levy water and sewer delinquent payments this year onto taxes, which changes the way we've done things, since I've been here. So just
Yeah.
thought I should let you know that. It's kind of thrown me off a bit.
Yeah, because I definitely know people are like, oh, I just let them put in on my taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah, so it puts us in a position to have to, I don't even know yet. I'm still kind of.
I did see that. I guess I got it to my personal email.
And it also, but Tal, are you still on?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Is this just part of the emergency declaration that was made for COVID-19?
Well, yes and no. It's now more sort of semi-permanent because it is actually a law as opposed to just an executive order. So it's going to take another law to repeal it at some point. I don't know whether that's going to happen, but there's a certain amount of inertia with these laws once they get into place.
Well, I'm hoping that NICOM, advocates for, changing this over. I know they were strong in trying to not have this passed, weren't they?
Right. Yes, they were very much against it.
Yeah, so, you might want to use your power as officials too next year to change this if you can,
Yep.
But, also I was reading this too. It's kind of late now because I was talking to Tal, we have to have that list of re-levies like almost immediately after the last payment date for water bills, which is today, and have that list to the county in like 2 days or 1 day or whatever, so that they can put it on the taxes. But it also states here too, though, if I'm reading this right, that it's just water and not sewer.
That's correct.
Oh, God, like that really makes
That's a
everything
nightmare.
really confusing. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it really balls it up.
Did everyone on the board get this? I don't know if everyone's on this NICOM list. Let me forward it to you guys because it came to my personal email. I guess I signed up for
How do we get on the NICOM mailing list? Is that something that happens automatically?
No,
or-
I went to their like boot camp in 2019. It was actually an in-person event. It was fun. We had lunch. And I've taken some webinars and whatnot. So I guess that's why, because I get different things to different emails. Like my village email gets one thing and my personal email, which I use to sign up for the boot camp, gets the other. So I'll forward you guys this email, and probably there's a subscribe. There might be a subscribe, or you could just probably email them and say, hey, can I get on these emails?
or
The
probably
best
on
the
their
best way is to go to just Google NICOM and go to their website and log in and make yourself a member. The village already is a member, and then you can just join as an elected official for the village. That's how I got in there as an employee, basically.
Okay, I'm sending it to you guys all now. Cause yeah, I saw that come in and I kind of scanned it, but there it goes. All right. Anything else, MJ?
Just a question, Tal, regarding this too, is because of the fact that this is so new and so, it's going to take longer to pull the sewer away from the water in order to get this list ready for the county. And talking to the county this afternoon, late, one of the villages that they do this for has opted out of re-levying water and sewer. Is that something we can do this year and just next year go back to doing the sewer and try to,
That's an option that we could follow by opting out entirely. Yes.
Okay.
The problem is that whatever doesn't get paid, of course, then gets doubled up eventually next year or the year after, whenever we're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
And by then people have maybe moved and.
Well, there's another point too, because that's really, and it's not all the time, but whenever there's a closing, as long as there's a title company involved, they're going to have to pay it because the title company won't allow them to close with that open bill. But not all closings have title insurance. I mean, there are a lot of cash deals where, well, I don't say a lot, but there are several cash deals where people just buy it and they don't get title insurance. And, buyer beware at that point.
Wow, what a headache.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it is. So is that something the village wants to consider, is not re-levying at all this year and just going back to what's the water is the only thing that we can't re-levy next year? Or would you guys consider that this year?
Well, does that mean we're essentially giving people a year's worth of water for free if they haven't paid their bills?
No, so, yeah, pretty much, yeah. No, I
Not-
mean,
not
they have
free.
to pay eventually. They have to pay eventually.
Does it like this? So then they get the next bill and it's for twice as much?
Well,
Right.
that's what happens anyway, but
Yeah.
like at re-levy time, it goes on to your taxes and then we
Yeah.
start clean. This year, we will just have to carry it over until, they sell their house or they finally fess up or we nag them enough. I don't know,
Do we, before we make a decision do we need to make a decision on that tonight, MJ?
Well, I'm supposed to have that list there by tomorrow noon. So, and I've got like a pretty busy day tomorrow and Friday and, I don't know. I'm kind of thrown off by this whole thing myself. I just learned about that this
Yeah,
afternoon.
So what I was going to suggest is the old saying that in numbers there is strength. NICOM is clearly on this. Maybe we should see if there's some kind of like a bulletin board or some kind of a best practices sharing or something that NICOM can do in terms of telling us what other communities are doing or what people are recommending. It's hard to believe that we're not going to have, that there's no one out there with any suggestions or ideas, unless what you're proposing is the only one. I mean, if it's the only thing we can do, then I guess we have to do it.
Yeah, the problem is there just hasn't been enough time for anybody to react to this. This just happened this week.
Mhm.
I'm on the NICOM website right now and I was searching all over for it and they don't even have any resources or any comments on it yet, other than just the email that we got, I think the day before yesterday saying, hey, you just took this one in the nose.
So MJ, this submission that you're supposed to make for tomorrow at noon, which it sounds like you're kind of busy anyway, if we miss it, is there any penalty or ding?
No,
Yeah.
no, before I found out about this, I was asking the county to give me until Monday anyway, to get, the water and sewer re-levies to them. So,
And in any case, I think we just said they're not going to do anything with these this time around, right?
Not with the water.
well,
Not with the water.
depends, I guess. They're still gonna do this, the sewer
Mhm.
re-levies, but not the water.
Which we don't
How much are
have.
we talking about? Do you know?
Well, you can't re-levy the water, but you can re-levy the sewer.
Right.
And do we have to tell them what's sewer? Because usually you just send over, because usually people either pay all or nothing, either both water and sewer or nothing. So are you going to have to, so you would have to, in a normal year, you would send them the total amount, but now are we going to have to separate out sewer and water?
Yes.
Yeah. So we couldn't realistically get this to them tomorrow anyway, right? I mean, maybe,
No.
but could we even just like talk to Cooksaki and Catskill and see what they're doing,
Well, that's what I asked the county today. I asked them if they had heard back, and there's one, what's the village up on the mountain? I don't know. If it's-
Tannersville?
They're not re-levying at all. So, but I asked her, I said, "Hey, what's Cooksaki doing?" And she hadn't heard by 4:30 today. She hadn't heard from them at all.
Well, Nancy's question also, I think this is what you were asking, Nancy, is like, how much money are we talking about,
Yeah.
losing if we don't re-levy? Yeah, I mean, on average, usually the re-levy for sewer is probably about $45,000. I mean, you'll get it back, but you're not going to get it in a lump sum like you did before. from the county, you'll get it in dribs and drabs.
That's sewer and water or just sewer?
So now.
That's just the one that we're going to not get the re-levy on,
Uh-huh.
the water.
That's sobering.
That's
Yeah, it is.
for
Oh.
a budget of $1 million. That's like close to 5%. That would be a big hit to take. I would suggest we defer making any decision since we're not going to be penalized for not submitting something.
Well, the problem with deferring is that this is what goes on your tax bill. So there's a deadline for them to print your tax bills before June 1st. So, you know, the time is of the essence here. I mean, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other. I
But
mean,
you couldn't, from what I understood, you couldn't even submit, even if you had till Monday, unless you moved heaven and earth to look at all the bills and separate out the sewer part from the water part anyway, right? I mean,
no, you can do it. It's, you know, I mean, it's not impossible. It's just a little bit more time consuming. That's all. I mean, it's not, you know, I mean, you're just going to take your water and you're going to, I mean, each column is different. You're going to look at water one way, sewer a different way. It's not in one lump sum.
did
So
Tanksville decide never to re-levy or just not this time around?
I'm thinking just not this time around.
I
And-
say, my suggestion is that we do the sewer, like get what we can.
Yeah, it's the lump sum. I mean, if we have to now basically chase people down and run collections on these bills, as opposed to it just getting added to the taxes.
Get what we
That's
can.
a significant amount of work. If you feel like you can at least separate it out and re-levy what we're allowed to, maybe we should, if you can. I mean, it's a really tight time frame.
Tough one.
Bob has asked how many bills are we talking about?
Yeah, any
Mm.
idea?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's probably like 4 pages worth. So, I mean, I don't know how many are on each page. It's this
And-
Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, and you don't actually go through bill by bill. This is just
No, it's just that, you know, the
Sorting.
due date is on the 12th, so you have to reconcile your books with, and make sure that you have everybody off that list. You know, you don't want to send somebody down and get, you know, re-levied onto their taxes that, you know, you may have missed. So, I mean, the bulk of it is done by computers, but you also have to have a person to oversee it and make sure that everything's been posted and, you know, but I mean, it's not impossible. And I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't want to go without, you know, getting that money either. So I guess we don't have much of a choice, really.
yeah, let's go ahead and re-levy the sewer then.
I feel that way too. It just seems like that's the best way to ensure that we get at least a piece of it without having to implement a whole other system of you know, collections and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Do we need a motion? No, because
No, I mean, it's just. it
I'm
was just-
sorry, MJ, that sounds like a real
Yeah.
Headache.
It's
pain in the
okay.
bleep.
there's a special place in heaven for village clerks who serve as you do. So you have
I'll
that.
remember that. I'll remember that on Saturday and Sunday. How's that?
I think there's a special
anyway.
place before you get to heaven.
Okie dokie, that's all I have.
Thanks, MJ. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, Tal, did you have anything else?
Just one thing, I'm going to be taking a webinar here in the next couple of days about cannabis and whether we want to opt in, opt out, control it, not control it. And so I'll have some more information on that at the next meeting. And yeah.
I
that's
took a
coming up.
webinar on that. It really could have been 4 webinars with the amount of information that they tried to shove into it, but I look forward to talking about it after
Okay.
you take yours.
Yeah, it's now on demand, actually. You can just go and jump right into it right
Is
now.
it the
whenever you want.
The Nikon one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, I just have a couple things. Most of it I already talked about, I think. Talked about that. Talked about that. The policing review, we kind of talked about that. That's going very smoothly from what I'm still getting up to speed, but I've, sat in on a couple of meetings and everything's going well. The lighthouse folks had a lovely day in the park yesterday. They take the kids down to a lighthouse usually, and since they can't go there due to COVID, they just took them to the park and had an educational day. There was a little bit of a scramble because they didn't realize they needed to reserve the park, so I just went ahead and approved it. I figured nobody would mind, so that was nice. I started a dialogue about the little Van Loon house. I'm still, I guess, need to get some numbers and some explanation there. Haven't really been able to connect, just one interaction. So I'll get more information on that. Probably next week I'll have a phone call. Figure out what's going on over there. I got a nice note from Jason about the closeout of the DPW garage. I don't know if everyone was on that. But he had nothing but positive thoughts is actually the title of it. Oh yeah, everybody was able to see that, I think.
I wasn't copied on it, I don't think.
Oh no, it's just the people who are involved in the thing. Anyway, it's not something that everybody needs to see. I just wanted to mention it because he was very positive about how the project went and the fact that we had very few delays, even considering COVID. The only delays were basically based on, slow delivery of supplies. And, the fact that we went and we were able to bid it out before all of this hit, and how much we saved if we had been doing this project this year would have been 20 to 30% more expensive. And he just basically is closing it out this month, so that is a successful story for all of us, and thank you to the previous board members who were instrumental in helping get that done. And then the only other thing that's like new, well, I shared this with Josh, that the Treasury Department did release some guidance as far as the stimulus funding. We're keeping a close eye on that, Josh and I. It's information is changing daily, or being revealed daily. And then I also wanted to just put it out there that I'm exploring a new email system for us that doesn't have us doing this hinky forwarding business. It's not expensive. It's like $3.50 a month per user. But it would probably solve issues like Nancy had with the yahoo.com. It's directly through the WordPress site that we already have. They've partnered with someone. What I'm going to do is research that company and then maybe sign myself up through one of my other websites and see how it functions before I go through the rigmarole of changing the system that we have in place. But I don't love the Yahoo thing at all. And I don't love the forwarding, the way that works. So I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm looking into that. I'd just like to sort of upgrade that and get it to be something that works a little bit better for everyone. I know at some point everyone's had an issue. I know Gail most recently, and one day Nancy hit me up and then that she wasn't getting her email, and then I couldn't get mine, and then I found I couldn't get mine, and I was on with tech support, and it turned out it was just, oh, Yahoo was down for a minute. So that's not good. But anyway, I'll have more to report on that in the coming weeks. Other than that, I think we're good.
I just want to remind you that we have to work on the social media policy.
Yes, I was we'll look at that with the Concom, and then I'll bring it to Tal, and then we'll bring it to the board. And we're looking at updating because it's kind of old and social media has changed a lot. But other than that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I do it.
Yay, Ricky. Can I get a second?
I second.
All right, Nancy, all in favor of adjourning the meeting?
Bye.
Anyone
Aye.
opposed? Anyone want to hang out longer? Okay,
Good night, everybody.
so moves. Good night, everyone.
Right.
Night, everybody.
Thank you all.